Ratios and proportions are like the backbone of SAT. Today, I will show you how to master them. Let's start. First of all, we have a simple example. Let's read it first. The ratio of apples to oranges is 3 to 8. If there are 24 oranges, how many apples? Let's write this 3 to 8 in fraction form. And this represents, look, ratio of apples. So this represents apples. And this part represents oranges. So it's equal to, if there are 24 oranges, so we write this 24 oranges to the part of the oranges, you see, this part, and it asks how many apples. Okay, in this picture you can clearly see that this fraction is expanded by what? By 3. So you multiply the numerator by 3, just like the denominator, and get the answer, which is 9. Okay, this one was simple. Let's proceed to the next. Ratio of boys to girls is 2 to 3. What percent of the class are girls? Well, this one's tricky because it gives the ratio of boys to girls but asks the percent of the class. Okay, this is different. So when you say boys to girls, it's like, let's indicate their number. Since I don't know their number, I will write this one 2K and this one 3K. Because if this is a multiple of 3, then this has to be a multiple of 2. So it asks what percent of the class. Okay, then I have to find the number of students in the class. Okay, so I add them up. You see, this 5K is the total number of students. So now I can answer the question because girls will be here and the class will be here. Now, the number of girls is 3K and the number of the students in the class is 5K. So the ratio is 3 over 5, but it asks the percent. So 3 over 5 equals to, now the denominator is 100 since it asks the percent, so I have to find this x. Again, I can use the technique I just used. I expand this by 20, as you can clearly see, because 100 divided by 5 is 20. So I need to multiply this by 22. Okay, and it makes 60. So 60% of the class are girls. This is the answer. Let's proceed to the next one. Okay, now you have to be careful with the units. In this case, a car travels 180 miles in 3 hours. What's the speed in miles per minute? Okay, so if it travels 180 miles in 3 hours, then it means it travels 180 miles in, since 1 hour is 60 minutes. This means it travels 180 miles in 3 hours will make 180 minutes, right? So this has to be 180 minutes. I converted the unit. So what is the speed in miles per minute? If one vehicle, if a car travels 180 miles in 180 minutes, then in 1 minute, it will travel 1 mile, right? So its speed is 1 mile per minute. The answer is 1. You have to be careful with the units. Now the next question. A machine prints 120 pages in 8 minutes. At this rate, how many pages in 30 minutes? Okay, with this one, I can find how many pages it prints in 1 minute. by dividing 120 by 8. So it's 15 pages in a minute. So in 30 minutes, I just need to multiply this with 30. In 30 minutes, look, in 30 minutes times 15 pages per minute. So these cancel out and it equals to 450 pages. Okay. I will show you a different technique called cross multiplication with this one. Okay. When you see something like this, by that I mean something like A over B equals C over D, something like this, you can employ a technique called cross multiplication. This means A times D equals B times C. So I will do this one with that technique. Let's show our cross multiplication signs. Now the multiplication of 5 and 8 equals 15x. This means 40 equals 15x, and in order to find x, I divide both parts by 15 and find x. Well, let's simplify this fraction by 5 and equals x. Okay. Let's check out the next one. A recipe uses 3 cups of flour for 8 cookies. How many cups for 20 cookies? Let's do this one with cross multiplication. Now, 3 cups of flour for 8 cookies. Okay. Now, the cookies part is the denominator, so I write 20 here, and we wonder how many cups. I will use cross multiplication with this one. So 3 times 20 equals 8 times x. Dividing both parts by, let's do the multiplication first. Now, dividing both parts by 8, I get what? 7.5? Yes. That's the x value. Well, this cross multiplication might come handy in many situations, so I strongly recommend using it. When we say something like this, it means y is directly proportional to x. I mean, if y increases, then x increases. That's what this symbol conveys. So let's solve the question based on that. The ratio of x to y equals to some constant number. Okay, you see in this setup, if you increase x, you also need to increase y in order to keep the ratio same. That's why we denote direct proportion in such a way. So let's use these values now. And y is 10 when x is 2. Okay, 2 over 10. This is my k value. It means this is my constant. So it also equals to, find y, well, y is the denominator, y is here, when x equals 5. You know what to do, right? We can easily use this cross multiplication method as they are equal to each other. Okay, 10 times 5 equals 2 times y. 50 equals 2y. Now dividing both parts by 2, I get 25 equals y. Okay, when you see something like this, y is proportional to 1 over x, it means there is inverse proportion here. If y increases, then x decreases. The ratio of y to 1 over x is some constant number. I multiply this fraction with inverse of it. Okay, division in fractions equals k. So it means y times x equals k. This is how we denote inverse proportion. With this picture, it's clearer to see that when y increases, x has to decrease in order to keep this number constant. So this is how inverse proportion looks. Now let's put in these values. When y is 4, then x is 3. This constant value is 12. So 12 equals to, find y times x is 12. Okay, in this case, dividing both parts by 12, 1 equals y, you find y as 1. In ratios, you must be careful. Remember, when making ratios, you see in this one it says what percent of the class are girls, but it gives the ratio of boys to girls. I mean, it doesn't mention about the class, so you must be careful about it. You must be careful about what ratio it asks. Okay. So in unit rates, you must be careful about this hour, minutes, kilograms, grams. You must really pay close attention to that in order not to make mistakes about it. And okay, cross multiplication might come really, really handy. All right. And okay. Well, inverse variation. Inverse variation is like direct proportion with inverse of the multiplicative inverse of the number. So when one number increases, the other one decreases. So you must set up the proportion carefully. Okay, that's about it. I have a challenge question for you. You can solve it and give the answer in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.